Hello, my most amazing artist. This week we are going to be making self-portraits. They're going to be monochromatic. We talked about that word last week when we made our hands. And as you can see, this is my self-portrait in blue. It's a very small sheet of paper. You guys are going to be working on small pieces of paper because everyone in the school is going to make a portrait, and we will be putting them all together in one big mural. And so you'll see what we're doing a little bit later. But you will either make a blue self-portrait or a green self-portrait. Okay, now you will be using a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, to create your drawing of yourself. And then you'll be using markers, water, and a paintbrush. That's really fun. Tell you about that in a minute. And some color sticks, which are kind of like colored pencils, but there's no wood, so there's no need for sharpening. So the first thing that you need to do when you create your portrait is figure out where you are going to place your face. And most portraits are the head, the neck, and the shoulders. So what I like to do is a ghost drawing. So So take your finger, you're going to make a U shape for the bottom of your head. If you make it too small, you'll have too big of a neck. If you make it too big, you won't have room for your neck or your ears or your hair. Remember, we're using Sharpie, which is a permanent marker, and you can't erase it. So if you want to get an extra sheet of paper to use as a practice drawing, you may do that. But I would recommend you take your finger and just kind of about 3 times decide where you're going to put your U shape for the bottom of your face. Okay, I think I got it. Your face is not perfectly symmetrical, so if that is not symmetric, meaning you draw a line down the middle, if it's not the exact same on both sides, that's fine. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is draw 2 vertical lines for my neck, and then I may look down and see what my shirt looks like. So I'm going to do just kind of a line across, and from that line I'm going to draw the edges of my shoulders. You may not be able to see your shoulders, but that's okay. You can just draw your neck. All right, and then I'm going to go to my eyes. If you look at the person next to you, most of us have eyes that are similar in shape. It looks like an oval turned over on its side, except for the edges are pointy. So that makes it an ellipse. So I'm going to just draw 2 arched lines like that. Now, if I left one like that or both of them like that, it would look like my eyes are closed. But I want to make sure that my eyes look open. So I'm going to draw 2 more lines that are curved. Then I'm going to draw the iris. The iris of your eye is just like a circle, and it's the colorful part of your eye. And then I'm going to draw the pupil, I'm sorry. The pupil is the little black dot that's inside your eye. That changes, it gets bigger when there's less light in the room, and it gets smaller when there's more light in the room. So if you look at the person next to you, you can see whether their pupil is big or small. Okay, I want to do my mouth next, and I put some little sheets on your paper that show you how to draw a mouth and a nose. Those are very detailed ways, so you don't have to draw them quite as detailed. I'm going to show you a way here. So you may be smiling. You may be laughing with your mouth open. Your mouth may be closed in just a straight line. That may make you look mad. Your mouth may be an arch this way, may make you look sad. But again, I'm going to kind of figure out where I want to put my mouth, and I want to have my mouth open. I'm going to do just a big smile, and I'm going to draw my bottom lip, and then I'm going to draw my top lip. I want to look like I'm smiling. And then for my nose, I'm going to go up a little bit from my mouth, and I'm just going to do a U and a small U and a small U. And that'll kind of give me a nose shape. And I'm going to bring my nose up on one side and into my eyebrow. Okay? I'm not going to bring my nose up on the other side. You can if you want, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to give myself another eyebrow. Now, your eyebrows, you want them to be kind of the same height. But if they're not, your picture will just look more like a Picasso. I'm going to bring my lines up from my U so I have room for my hair. Oh, I kind of look like a boy right now. I need to give myself some hair. First, I'm going to give myself some ears. So your ears will look just kind of like a long, skinny C. This one will be a backwards C. And then I'm going to figure out how my hair looks. So my hair kind of swoops over from one side. And it's long, so I'm going to bring it down. If your hair's short, then make it short. If you have a ponytail or braids or beads, you can add those things. Make my hair really long because my hair is pretty long right now. Just doing strands of hair because you don't just have one strand of hair, you have lots of hair. I think my head needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's my portrait. Now here is the fun part. What we're going to do next is I want you to look and see where the dark spaces are on your face. Or you could look at your neighbor's face. You want to look at where the dark spaces are. I'm going to turn my computer around and show you my face. Okay. So, my face. The dark spaces are kind of around the edges. Right up here over my eyelid. Right there where my lips touch. Right here underneath my lips. And then if I look at my neck, I have dark spaces all around the outside. So those are the shadows of my face. So we're going to create some value using markers with water. You have to be careful with the water. If you put too much water on your paper will disintegrate. So it'll get all yucky and gummy. And so you have to be really careful. You only want to use a little teeny bit of water. It's better to use not enough and then add a little bit more if you need it. Okay? So if you look at this, you can tell my paper is still intact. Okay? If you look at the back, you can see where it bled through. But I didn't use too much water to where it messed up my paper. This is not watercolor paper. So you can't use too much water. We can use a little bit. All right, I'm going to turn my computer back around so you can see what I'm doing. Also, if you have freckles or glasses or things like that, you may want to add those on your self-portrait. Okay, so remember we talked about those dark spaces. So I'm going to take my dark green marker and I'm just going to draw me a few lines. This looks a little bit funny, but both sides of my face kind of had a dark line around them. You want to use the side of your marker so that you get a good thick line. So not the tip, but use the side. All right, my nose, kind of on the outside of my nose, I had a dark line. Right here between my lips, underneath my lips, there was a little bit of a dark line. And my cheeks, actually, to show my cheeks, I'm going to come in a little bit. All right, I had a line kind of where my eyelid was. And create one there. All right. And I think that's pretty good. There's some dark lines in my hair. So again, I'm using the edge of my marker, the side of it, to make thick lines. If you wanted to make a thin line, you could use the tip. Okay. But I want to use the side to get some thick lines. And if you really want to get fancy, oh, I can't put the lid on my marker. There we go. You could use the other. Here's my lighter green. So I'm going to add some lighter green in here with my hair. Because my hair actually has highlights. Your hair may not have as many highlights as mine. My hair has highlights. Okay. Oh, and I forgot about my neck. So if you remember, my neck kind of had some dark lines coming in from the edges, kind of down in the middle. All right, so now, remember, don't use a lot of water. You're going to take your, paintbrush and dab the water off. Once you dab the majority of the water off your paintbrush, you will just paint right on top of that marker and out from the marker. So dab the water off. And because your marker is washable, a little bit of that color will move with that water. So that creates a little bit of value. Again, you don't want to use too much water. You can't just paint and paint and paint with the water because it will mess your paper up. So be sure, see I had a drip there, and so that's making it look kind of odd. So I'm going to just kind of paint around where my nose is, paint around here where my lips are, come up and over my eyebrows. If you start to see the paper peeling up, then you have too much water. You need to stop adding water. Okay, I'm going to paint anywhere where there's marker. I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of a paint with the paintbrush. And then I have to control myself and stop, because if I don't, my paper is going to disintegrate like we talked about. And then your piece of art will just be all messed up. So you don't want that to happen. Now, I have not colored the iris of my eye. My eye is actually blue, but since I'm creating a green portrait, I'm going to make mine green. You could color this with the color stick or with the marker, however you want to do it. And then the very last thing you're going to do is use your color stick and your markers to create some sort of pattern on the outside. Now, I did not leave myself very much space around my head, so I'm going to have to come up with a small pattern. You see this one, I just did a pattern of dots. But on this one, I want to do something a little bit different. I think I'm going to use my light green because I haven't used a lot of light green. So I believe I'm going to just kind of do some zigzag lines as best as I can. So zigzag line pattern. And this just gives my portrait a little bit more interest. There's more to look at. See, I'm going to fit one more in there. Okay. And I'm going to take my color stick and kind of just lightly color in. That's kind of coloring over, so I've got to be real careful. My paper's green also, so I've got plenty of green on my paper, but I'm coloring that in. I'm trying to color all in one direction, so I'm coloring up and down, because if I color in all different directions, it may look a little bit messy. So I'm trying to be real neat and color all in one direction. I'm moving my paper so it makes it easier for me to color in one direction. And I'm just about finished. I did notice that I forgot to add some water to my neck. So remember, I'm dabbing the paintbrush and just using that water. See the green? It's kind of coming up. All right. So I'm done with that. So now I have made a green one and a blue one. You can see what it's going to look like. Yours may be green or it may be blue, or you may have green and blue in yours. So we'll talk about that. But what I want you to do is just have fun and do your best. Okay? All right, let's get to work.